You know what? That's me. Yeah, that's me playing the guitar. Believe it or not. I've had that guitar for over 20 years, and you'd think by now that I'd be a little better at it. But I never really sat down and memorized chord progressions or practiced my scales like a good little boy. I just made noise. But that's okay, because it actually serves a purpose for me. I use my guitar to release stress and to exercise my creative brain in a different way. And guess what? Right now, it is serving a point to help me make a point to you. And that point is, today I have 10 things that every new writer really, really, really needs to fully understand. That's right, 10 things. So, without further ado, I'm going to get to these. Number 10, you must loosen the purse strings and pay for an editor and a cover for your book. This is not an option. Not an option. Let me say that one more time. This is not an option. You cannot, as a writer, finish your manuscript and maybe go over it another time and assume that it is ready for public consumption. Most writers, and I include myself in this, are not editors. We do not have those skills. It's a completely different skill set. So, crack open that rusty wallet and drop the coin for an editor. And remember this, most readers, the very first thing they see of your book is your cover, and a lot of those people base their decision on whether or not to buy your book on what the cover looks like. If you have a shitty cover, no one's going to buy your book. And you don't have to drop $1,000 for a good cover. You can, but you don't have to. For example, I used to have a book cover design business, and I charged anywhere between $60 and $100 for a cover, and that's reasonable. So, remember that. Number 9, if you're a pantser, work out all of your plot issues when you're not writing. This is important because if you leave a writing session knowing that you've got plot issues and you come back the next day or whenever knowing that you haven't resolved those issues, you're going to spend a good amount of your writing time, which is a precious commodity, trying to overcome this plot hole or whatever this barrier you've got in front of you. Instead, when you leave that session and you know you've got these problems, work them out away from the manuscript. I do most of my best thinking about my plots when I'm exercising. Give it a try. Go for a run. Get on a bike. Go for a hike. Anything. Just do those things. Let your body take over and your mind will all of a sudden spark and really come up with some great ideas. Number 7. No. Number 8. I'm not a mathematician. Counting is not my forte. Number 8. If you are a plotter, don't hold so tightly to that outline that you dismiss a happy accident. You could be typing along on this chapter that you're on that happens to coincide with your outline at this point, and something magical happens. And the character sort of dictates to you where they want to go. But you are militant with your outlines and you say, oh no, character. It is my story. I am the god of this world. I say what goes. I have this outline, and I will follow it, whether you try to dictate to me what happens or not. Why the British accent? I don't know. Anyway, don't look at that outline as if it's set in stone. Allow for those happy accidents. And if it happens, and if you write yourself into some fantastic new path, then go back to your outline and adjust it. Simple. No brainer. Okay, number 7. Back to number 7. If you ask for advice or an opinion and you get it, don't blow it off because you think it means you suck. When I was an actor, I eventually, at some point in my career, I think maybe it was after 10 years or so, I finally just stopped reading reviews. Because inevitably, either the good or the bad reviews changed how I did things. If somebody wrote a good review, I would focus on what they said was good and forget everything else. But you know what? Just because someone has an opinion about your book, about your manuscript, and it's not an opinion that you agree with, it doesn't mean you suck, nor does it mean the person that gave the opinion sucks. But if you get this same opinion from multiple people, then you need to consider it seriously. But even so, if 5 beta readers all say, yeah, but A, that doesn't mean that A through Z sucks. It means you have a little problem and you can solve it. Simple. Okay, number 6, write what your heart demands. This is important for me. A lot of people say write what you know. And there's some validity to that, you know. If you know X, then write about it. But the problem is I've never experienced an apocalypse. I don't know what it's like to fight off zombies, but I love that genre. And also, as I'm going through my editorial calendar and I make it out and I say, this is what I'm writing here, and this is what I'm writing here, and this is what I'm writing here. If I get done with one book and all of a sudden my heart says, yeah, I'm not in the mood to write zombies just yet. If I force that issue, it's going to reflect in my writing. So I tend, when I finish a novel, when I finish a first draft, I listen to my heart and I say, what do I want to write now? What do I want to write now? And I do. And it makes everything so much better. Number 5. This is a pet peeve of mine, number 5 is. Can you guess what number 5 is? Number 5, for me, is don't repeat words unless it's for an effect. Now, we're going to repeat words. There are only so many of them and you've got to use them all. But if you have a sentence or a paragraph, do your best to not repeat words within that sentence or paragraph unless it's absolutely necessary or if it's for an effect. Because at least when I read these things, when I read a paragraph and I see repeated words over and over again, to me it says the writer doesn't have a full grasp of his vocabulary. I'm not kidding, I once was recording a book a long time ago, an audiobook for someone, and within one paragraph, a word was repeated 8 times. 8 times. One word. And it wasn't for effect. And by the end of that paragraph, I was pulling my hair out. So you get what I'm saying. And of course, it's not law. It's just my opinion. Okay. Number 4. Always be open to inspiration to hit you from 360 degrees. When I was in grad school studying acting, my mentor, he was my first role model. His name was Rich Rand at Purdue University. He was my movement teacher. And he's an incredible, incredible artist, a great teacher and a fantastic role model. But he was the first person to really expand my world in such a way that inspiration could come from anywhere and anything. Be open to it. I can walk outside right now and find inspiration up, down, front, back, side, everywhere. Once you open your mind and your eyes to this, that writer's block that you think you might have just kind of goes away. Number 3, learn new things. If you're like this your whole life with your blinders on and you're just going along and you refuse to learn other things, you're limiting yourself. Never hesitate to learn something new because it'll reflect in your writing. You'll learn a new vocabulary, you'll learn a new word, you'll learn a new way of doing things. And that is a good thing. Number 2, enjoy language. You're a writer. Words are your tools. There's no reason you shouldn't use those words, your tools, your skills to your best effort. I love words. I love twisting them and bending them and shaping them into sentences and paragraphs. And I love it when I read something that I've written and it stops my breath, or I read something that someone else has written, and it's a thing of beauty. I was weaned on Clive Barker. When you read Clive Barker, his early works were horror novels, and then he kind of drifted away from horror into the fantastique. But the man has such grace in his words. It is profound the way he used words. Anyway, don't fall for this idea that those writers, especially the old school writers who proclaim purple prose is your enemy. Prose can be a thing of beauty, even in horror. Use it. Finally, the number one thing that all new authors must know is very simple. Don't spam. Seriously, don't. If you're on Facebook or Twitter or whatever, do not constantly bombard everyone with buy my book, 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 buy my book. Look, it's a rough world. It is a challenge for every new author. Not even every new author. It's a challenge for every author right now to be seen because there are so many. That's a great thing. For readers, can you imagine what it's like to be a reader now? I am one, I guess. I can't imagine. It's great. There are so many books out there available for you. So, how do we get seen? As we're getting buried by this deluge of books. Oh, I know. I'll just constantly pummel my Facebook wall with pictures of my book covers and descriptions of my books and reviews that have come in for my books. 5-star review! Ladies and gentlemen, you must buy my book! Don't do it. When you're trying to figure out how to market yourself, remember, that's the key. Market yourself. You market yourself, people will become interested in your books. I sell me. I don't hawk my books because I think that is, well, I think it's disrespectful to people on Facebook, blah, blah, blah. Now, I do have a Facebook author page where you know, that's the primary purpose. But on my regular Facebook page, no. And on Twitter, no. People don't want to see a constant flow of buy my books. Okay? It's as simple as that. It's getting harder and harder to market. Facebook's doing its best to make sure of that. And it's understandable. It's their playground. And they are beholden to shareholders. They have a bottom line. And we don't pay anything for it. It's free. Stop bitching about it, okay? But right now, you've got to become creative. You've got to find other routes to marketing. I'm not a marketing expert. I never have claimed to be. I'm not. And me and marketing, we're not best buddies. I am not a BFF to marketing. We don't have slumber parties. I have never had BFF. Wait a minute. I have never had marketing do my nails or brush my hair. We've never had pillow fights or gone to see a movie together. Maybe one of these days we will and I'll get better at it. But until then, I follow that one very crucial rule and don't spam. Anyway, I have gone on so long today. You really want me to shut up now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play my silly guitar song again, and I'm just going to march myself out of here and let you think about everything you've heard today, and you better have paid attention, class.